So I've just been watching like 2.5 minutes of that Emma Watson speech at UN about the he for she thing. So and then I thought, okay, I have to sort of make a no. I thought I'll make a video about it. Just I really believe in feminism. I really do. I mean quite strongly as well, and so I'm just gonna try to uh, give reasons for it, and from my perspective as an Indian guy and all that, right? So they see feminism. Now they all say it's all about equality uh, in opportunities amongst genders, like socio-economic equality is what it's about. It's not just about women's issues. It's not just entirely about women, right? So that's why I really want it, because. Yeah, obviously there's been, I mean, I guess human societies everywhere, there's been a lot of bias and a lot of things that has been favorable for just one group, or in certain aspects, at least I would say. For example, like in most societies throughout history, right? Um, it's always been the men who've been sent out to die and get killed and fight in battlefields and all that, and men are the ones who have to man up, go face issues, deal with other people outside, secure and bring resources to home, so that people in the home, they can sort of share it, and then you know deal with it, or consume it, I suppose. So yeah, so this is one equality, right? So I want as much women now also just to come and join the army, and go fight and get killed and do all those things, right? So um, see, we shouldn't really just put the onus on the man to go defend the women all the time, right? So yeah, we definitely sort of need equality there. So uh, I mean, female, every other species, the females are tough as well. A lion, it's the female who brings the food, right? And then yeah, I mean, even there's sort of a problem. Yeah, they say that only men own all the wealth in the world. Like all the wealth in the world are concentrated at 90% of the wealth of the world are concentrated in the hands of men, and the remaining 10% of women. So um, yeah, but I guess even in the animal kingdom, it's a little bit like that. Like lion marks its own territory, and then uh, but the females, they're happy to you know share the territory. Okay, maybe that's a dumb logic, but let's not get in there, right? So anyway, the other species, I mean, I'm not really spontaneous in talking, so I guess you're gonna have to bear with it. So that was a bad example about the sharing of the territory and owning the land, whatever, right? So that's a bad example. Just don't mind it. Okay, coming back. So yeah, lionesses, they go fight, work, get food. So yeah, definitely women need to go out and do the work as well. So they say udyogam is purusha lakshanam. So it should be udyogam is everyone's lakshanam. The onus shouldn't be just on the men to go and uh, you know uh, try to find work and try to compete with others and go through the stress of dealing with people, making money and all that, right? So yeah, every woman should do that as well. Okay. um because they have actually abolished the dowry, right, in India. What do we do? See, it's like, okay, I kind of have let's just discuss a scenario, right? Let's say you were like 2000 years back in India, you were living in a uh, that kind of a Neolithic society, and you're a farmer, a landowner kind of guy. So you have a boy and a girl, right? Uh, so how would you share the wealth that you have? Let's just say you have land and some jewels, gold, okay? So which one would you give it to the guy, and which one would you give it to the girl? uh, Mind you, so this is the practice, right? Generally, because when men were the one who were going out and working in the fields most of the time, and women were the people who were taking care of the house. So generally, this is what happened: the men go out and work in the fields, women stay home. So having this being the scenario, would you give the land to your son or to your daughter? I mean, the thing is that the daughter will be married off and she'll be sent to another place. So, if you give the land to your daughter, you'd be expecting your son-in-law to come and work in your land. And besides, most people have their land right back. Uh, you know, it's pretty. It'll be very close from their house. So that's the practice. And sometimes people marry off their daughters to guys from next town or whatever. So it's not really practical for your son-in-law to come here and work in this land every day, right? So it's a sensible thing to give the land to your son and the jewels to your daughter. So this giving of jewels to your daughter, when will it happen? It happens while marrying her off, right? Or would you rather wait till you die, and would you rather wait till she gets old so that she can take all the jewel to her place? You would rather have her take the jewels to her place at the time she gets married, right? Guess what that's called? It's called the dowry, right? And now, okay, now, uh, and then, okay. Let's just come to the part where they say it's an evil thing, right? And they also say that, okay, that's not the issue, but people quarrel over dowry, right? So let's say again you're a father, right? And then uh, you have uh, uh, some amount of wealth, and so what you can do is you can choose not to share the wealth equally between your son and your daughter, right? You can say, okay, I will sell all my jewels and just 90% of my wealth I would buy lands for my son and give it to him. You can choose to do that, and in that case you wouldn't have to. You can just you get a little bit of jewelry and give it to your girl, and then you just send her off, and then you expect your son-in-law to take care of her for the rest of the life and all that. So when you do this, you're a cheap idiot, right? You're a bastard. Not a bastard, but yeah, you're an idiot because you're not giving enough money for your daughter, right? So to prevent this from happening, the people from the groom's side, they demand for dowry, right? And over a period of, they say, okay, you're a big gounder, or you're a big panaya, or you're a big whatever, you're a big I don't know, Thakur or whatever the thing is in North India. They say you're a big guy, but you're not giving anything for your daughter, so it's shame on you. That's the whole quarreling is about. They don't say, you're. You gotta. It's not a fucking selling your daughter or something like that. So it's a stupid interpretation. All this quarreling over dowry, it's just to ensure that the wealth is divided properly and the dad is not a cheap bastard. Okay. Now this has been interpreted as selling off the women. It's a business. It's a stupid thing. It's a primitive, mindless thing, or whatever, against women or whatever. And so they just think that. So if you say dowry is bad, so what you're suggesting there is, in primitive societies, where if you're a farmer, a landlord, you should just marry off your daughter without anything, without giving her anything. Because if you give her land, there's no point, because the guy from the next town is not going to come here like at 5 o'clock in the morning every day and start work. Only the guy who's living right on the farm, which is usually your son, he's the one who takes care of the land. So you're not going to give land to your daughter, and then you're saying you won't even give jewels in the form of dowry. So you'll just marry off your daughter and you expect the son-in-law to take care of it, right? Is this what people think should have happened in olden days. Um, uh, so that this is one aspect of the Indian culture bashing that all those liberal Nazis do. They, I mean, it's not just the liberal people, but it's a whole group of those. What do you call, the cocktail circuit is what. So that's what used to describe me. They go on. They love to bash Indian culture, Indianness, and they like to point out how stupid it is. This practice sort of started with the colonial period, when the British wanted to put down native Indian practices for their own, a conversion and divide and rule. So many agenda they had, but this practice is sort of this practice of Indian culture bashing is now followed, like even today, many there are people who do that, right? So wanted to sort of bring that out, and so I want that to stop. We're not getting any dowry these days, so the girl better go out and work, right? So I want equality there. So I want the girl to go out and work and make money. The onus shouldn't be on the guy alone. And about equal opportunity at workplace, I think the scenario in India is okay. I worked in this company in Chennai for 3 years, and we used to recruit as well. Well, it's like this. Even we used to give a test to screen out applicants, and me and every single guy that I knew, if the girl was half decent, we wouldn't even look at the answers that they've given in the test. We would bring her in. So, and then it was so much easier for a girl to get the job than a male applicant. I did this. Every single guy in the office did this. Even the senior managers did this, just because a girl looks good and she looks kind of sophisticated, talks in English. We bring them in. All these things happen. So so guys there are also discriminated against. There's a bias there as well when it comes to recruitment and all. So I don't know what they say. They say women are not recruited in proper amounts in IT firms or whatever. I think I saw this argument somewhere, but I don't know why. Where is the discrimination? Do you think they think this, they call the system a flawed one? So what do you think is happening? Are the IT firms who are recruiting, they say it's an unfair system, so what are they doing? Are they asking them to run a physical race, or go for hand wrestling before they allow them into IT companies where females are disadvantaged? No, right? They just give a fucking test, which either the guy, which is the same questions probably for the guy and the girl. How are women disadvantaged in this process? I don't know. This is the fucking process in 99.9% of the IT companies that are. No one is asking women to run a marathon, and then there's no selection process that way. So I don't know what exactly they refer to as the unfair process, right? And and they say women are not making that much, I guess. So we should sort of make the salaries of men and women equal, right? If they're doing the same job or having the same designation, or I don't really know how much of that is true, especially in India. This is what I gathered from some of these things in US, and they don't. Well, if you, I've sort of seen this video of this person called Julie Borowski, and she says that's really not the case at all. For the same designation, same post, women's are earning like 5 to 10% higher than males, it seems. Like a senior manager or roles of that, or CEO, whatever. They might be few in number, but if they are doing the same job as the guy, they are getting more for the same job. This is what I believe. Right, and I don't think that's the case here in India as well. And the thing is they are getting few in number and all that. So I mean, the only problem I guess is there's only few people, few women working. But yeah, so I don't think any man is stopping a woman from going to work. You know, uh, like I said, there's like actually more guys want their wives to go work as well than take up some of the stress. Um, they'd be happy to come and do I mean, that's a different debate. I want to get into that. Okay. The next thing is, yeah, going out at 11 o'clock in the night or 12 o'clock in the night. Okay. The person that says to a girl, "Don't go out in the night," who's the person? Do you think it's her mom and dad? Well, the guy standing outside would be happy for the girl to come because he's gonna fucking rape her, right? He doesn't give a shit about the girl. No one gives a shit. People just like to see what bad thing happens to other people. So no one else, the society is not policing this girl. Her parents are, right? Now, so why should and okay so people say that women should be allowed to go at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the night. Number one, society is not telling them to not go outside in the night. It's the parents who fear that, right? They don't want to send their kids after 11 o'clock. It's like, I mean, I think the parents would also not advise their son to go in a shady area, like a gangster rowdy prone area at 11 o'clock in the night, carrying a lot of cash or expensive stuff with him. It's pretty common sense, right? So that's the advice they say to women: don't go to movies at night and come back in a two-wheeler where you might be molested by rowdies or drunk guys or whatever, right? So it's this is not a problem of morality or mentality. So just like a rowdy would beat up a guy and take his wallet, or just beat up this guy just for the sake of it, he would come and molest a woman, right? So this is a problem of crime enforcement, I mean law enforcement and crime control, right? And India still, I mean, there's so much bashing all these idiotic media people. They say, okay, India is the rape capital of the world, and everyone buys into it. But even when this was going on, UN did a survey and released a report in which India stood at like number 95 or 96, which is good. I mean, in terms of rapes per 100,000, India had only 1.9 rapes or something, whereas it was 80 or something in US and 85 in UK and similar figures in Australia. And it was 2011, I think, the year. And the same year, UK said that 85% of their rape cases are unreported. So because it's done by friends or something in countries like UK, so it's probably a lot more higher in UK as well than just 85, whereas it's 1.9 per 100,000 in India. This was a UN survey, and the same survey, India was ranked 135 or 142 or whatever. So it was not exactly a favorable thing for India, that survey. But still, when it came to rape and crime, it was like quite low compared to the other developed countries. And India's a poor country, and you can't have enough resources for law enforcement, and so it's that problem. It's not a problem of morality. It's not a problem of Indian men being idiots. I guess in Delhi some idiots are aggressive, but the rest of the country not at all. We are much well behaved than. I've lived in many places. I've lived in Australia and US and Korea for a bit of time. I know it's not. I've seen a man slapping a woman to death. I mean, not literally, but he was slapping the shit out of a woman, like a guy in a suit beating a woman in a business attire. This was happening on an alley just off the main road, and people were just watching and then just walking past. Shit like this happened in South Korea, and no one, it was like that. And India, this never happens. And Indian people, Indian have some one particular book in India. I don't know what it's called, some Smriti, whatever, right? It says, okay, it begins with a preface saying that women are equivalent to God, so they should be protected, and so these are the rules that both male and females have to follow to ensure their protection. So yeah, I don't think so we need equality. So there's no need to give special protection to women. So they need to figure out their own way of dealing with things, right? Because they want every other privilege, supposed thing. They think, I don't know. I don't really know what it's about. All right, okay. Yeah, I think I missed this one. Emma Watson, she said, when she was 15, her girlfriends stopped playing sports because they didn't want to develop muscly and become macho. So what should the guy do here? So should guys say, hey, don't worry, we'll fuck you even if you look like a man, if you look more masculine? Should we say that? Should we say we would fuck you, find you attractive even if you're masculine? Is that what is required? What exactly is required in this situation? Girl plays sports, she becomes masculine, right? And the girl decides to stop playing sports. What should the guy do here? So yeah, should we sort of just go against evolutionary psychology, which allows us to discriminate against a healthy female species? Evolutionary psychology of males is in such a way that it prefers neotenous feminine characteristics in a woman, right? And that's why it says fair skin is slightly, people say it's all subjective and dark skin is also good, and I know that there's one particular benefit of dark skin is that the darker if someone is slightly darker in complexion, it means they have more estrogen in their body, it seems, but that's about the only thing. White skin, generally speaking, is the attractive neotenous feature, which means retaining childlike traits into adulthood and all that. But I've made another video on that. But so the point is, just because you say dark is nice, or just because I say fair is nice, it doesn't mean fair white skin is a nicer skin. It's in biology, okay? If someone has a lighter skin, it means generally it's an indication of age, and so on, and there's so many other things that come into play as well. If you want to know what they are, you should better watch my other videos as well, right? It's not just dark skin, it's about flatter face, firmer features and all that, but let's not get into that. So this argument that guys should do something about girls not playing sport is, I don't know what they should do, but and all these self-righteous coconuts in India, they make these videos saying, oh, this is a different kind of rape, asking the girl not to play sport and asking her to be, it's all their own choice, man. No one is doing anything. You can't say I need to go fuck something that looks masculine. You cannot tell that to me. I'll do whatever the fuck I want, okay? Yeah, but yeah, so I'm gonna try to finish it here, I guess. I'm not a very spontaneous speaker, so I didn't even think about what I was gonna say, but just 2 minutes of that Emma Watson speech, and yeah, I had to make this video. So yeah, so stop fucking misinterpreting Indian culture, and if you stop just complaining about gender bias, exactly tell what's going on. Just don't say women are fucking not getting enough money or enough work or enough wealth. Say what is exactly happening and what should happen, right? We can't just simply hire more women even if they're dumber, right? Is that what you want? And yeah, if at all I ever get a company, I would, I'm actually pissed off. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I did not talk about this other issues at all. Yeah, we definitely need equality, right? Equality of laws, gender laws in this country. 498A, I think most guys know what you're talking about, right? Yeah, this is gonna go for like another 4-5 minutes, I guess. So Yeah, 498A. What this says is, um, any uninvestigated complaint, which means the wife only has to go to the police station and say, I found run out of charge. So yeah, I was talking about the 498, and so what the provisions are is that the wife has to go to the police station and complain, saying that this guy is sort of I don't know, asking for dowry, or just torturing me based on that. Not just the guy, but her mom, dad, sisters, brothers, extended family. So she just has to say that to the police, and then it's uninvestigated. The police comes and arrests this guy, keeps the entire family behind prison until the investigation is over, right? And so the stats are, this is admitted by uh, the president of the National Commission of the Women or whatever, right? She says 80% of the cases reported by women are false, right? It's just they do it just because they're pissed off, and the rate is actually lesser in rural areas and more in urban areas. So probably 90% of the women who knows these laws and who are residing in city, they just take on their husbands if they do this, right? And guess what happens? So after this happens, you don't want to stay with her, you get a divorce, and the divorce court says, okay, it's all good, like, she made a false accusation against you, but you still have to pay. You still have to pay her 40-50 lakhs if you want to divorce her, right? As maintenance and alimony and all that, right? So this is the case. So let's say a woman doesn't. Okay, these are all court cases that's been. I read a newspaper. So there was a court case where the woman denied a man sex for about a year or so, a year or 2 years or whatever. This guy was able to prove that in court, and the court says, yeah, fine, that's good enough grounds for divorce. But the court says you can get divorced, but you still have to pay her 50 lakhs as maintenance. Um, so it's like that. The female can just, if she finds, especially young ones, right? If she's just 25, 26, she gets married, and then for flimsy reasons, she runs away. She can earn 50 lakhs in a year. Uh, you know, there's so much like that can happen, and so right now the scenario is like, if the woman doesn't show up in the husband's place for more than 1 year or something, she doesn't get any maintenance, but they're fighting to take the clause away. Not just staying away from husband, but also adultery. So adultery and staying away from the husband's place for more than a large amount of time, so she doesn't qualify for maintenance, right? The court investigates and finds out why all these things were happening and all, and then the guilty, and then she if the fault is on the women, she doesn't get any maintenance, but they are pushing, women's rights groups are pushing to get this clause out of the thing, is what I heard. And they're also pushing for another thing, which is, apart from the maintenance money of 50 lakhs, she also get half of the inheritance of the male. For example, she gets to keep all her inheritance for herself, but whatever the guy is about to inherit, she gets half of that as well, right? From his parents and grandparents. Um, so yeah, that is also, people also are also trying to push for that, and then women right now, it seems, they are holding off the divorce so that this law comes into effect or whatever. So that is happening. So these are the general laws, and there are kind of other things as well. I mean, you might have watched other things on, what happens in public if a guy gets beat by a woman, or if it's the other way around, and all those things, right? But yeah, you already know that. But yeah, so I'm just saying, these all these biases are unequal rules need to go away. Like Bill Burr says, it's not a fucking buffet. If you want all the things that comes with being a man, you gotta take all the bad things as well. You can't just nitpick, right? Um, so yeah, equality in these issues, man. This is what I'm talking about. This, um, yeah, obviously, there's just you just think too much of feminist things and stuff on TV. I mean, it might even be a proxy, a phony war, not a proxy war, but a phony war with some other agenda. But a lot of people are buying into it. A lot of people are talking about it. Especially, I mean, I think it's a lot more here. These women's rights groups, feminist groups, sprouting up in India and doing shit on political debates, or they just I think, yeah, they are sort of becoming a problem, and they're putting up with a lot of stuff. Especially, yeah, I used to see Yahoo. I tell you, Yahoo puts dumb articles like this, that always showcases the perspective of all these liberal Nazis and feminist people. Um, yeah, but so this is why I kind of felt that I needed to sort of make something about it. So yeah, let's see what you guys have to say about it.